What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 564 on this first Monday in May, alongside Jeremy Ross Lopez. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm good. How are you?
Really good. I know you're excited because first Monday in May also means Met Gala.
Definitely.
You're going to be watching that. I'm going to be watching all of the fashion coming down today, a little bit later. So we're excited about that. Of course, joining us, of course, is the lovely and talented Kodi Maurice Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. That's me. Hello, gents. How are y'all doing?
Really good on this Monday here as we record this before it drops. Final stop. We have to just mention Madonna made history with her final celebration tour stop, and where of all places, one of my favorite places where I celebrated my 40th birthday, Rio de Janeiro. It drew a record-breaking audience of 1.6 million people.
Oh my God.
She did it at the Copacabana Beach as a thank you to her fans for celebrating more than 4 decades of music. And the concert, of all things, was free. It was a true thank you. And Diplo opened for her, which was so amazing. And they showed footage of him. They had really good, sky cams all around, so it really did feel like it probably was 1.6 million people. And apparently it's the largest solo artist concert of any other artist in history. I mean, people in the past that have done this particular beach that can hold that kind of crowd have included the Rolling
Did Lincoln
Stones.
go?
I don't think Lincoln was there, but we'll need to check in with Lincoln because, I mean, he certainly paid enough. He should have gone to the one free and got a thank you to Madonna, a personal thank you for all the tickets.
Him a ticket. Yeah, she should have sent him a plane ticket.
Exactly. But she had Pablo Vittar and Anitta, Brazilian royalty, kind of help her out in this show, and it just looked amazing. She even in the Vogue scene had, instead of her normal negligee that she wears, she actually had a Brazilian flagged crystalled number that she wore, and she was also had Brazilian dancers on stage, drummers. It just was a way to go. And congratulations, Madonna, on 81 concerts and breaking a world record. So, wow, what a way to go, right? I mean, I know you've seen footage of this, Jeremy, and didn't it look just spectacular?
Yeah, the crowd was insane. The amount of people that came out, and it looked like a really beautiful location, like where that took place.
Yeah.
And it was like a star-studded crowd, and it just had so much energy, and it looked amazing.
Yeah, and it's just, Kodi, for somebody that they said, is she even going to be able to make all these concerts? Because, of course, right before the tour, she fell sick, and people were wondering, is she even going to make it? And she proved she could make it and beyond.
Oh, for sure. That was ageism at its finest. And I'm glad that she's out here doing her thing, breaking records like a queen should do, and just really proving everybody wrong. I love this for her. I love this for Brazil. I wish I was there. And I can't wait until she does it again. And she needs to keep going and keep going. Be like Cher, honey.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't put it past her. Somebody else that caused a sensation to announce their brand new album just over the weekend was Dua Lipa, and she was in Times Square, y'all. Another major feat to put on a concert, to drop her brand new album. She has so many hits. We could go through so many of them. And in a new interview with The Advocate, Lipa is showing her love for the LGBTQ plus community, for elevating her career to what it's become today, and giving a glimpse into her personal journey that led her to new record, Radical Optimism. And I don't know if you guys saw also pictures of this that occurred over the weekend, but it was like everybody came out to see her perform in the middle of Times Square. She was also the host and performance at SNL. She is on fire. I would imagine, Jeremy, that she is going to be at tonight's Met Gala since she's promoting the brand new album. She's
Oh
here
yeah,
in New
I'm sure.
York.
I looked up her tour dates, and so far they've only listed Europe. That's next fall. So I'm assuming in the new year she'll be performing near us, and that's a concert I definitely want to see.
Absolutely. And you know, her last album came out during the pandemic, Kodi, and it did record-breaking numbers, and this time around it seems like she's taking advantage that we're back, we're in full force. Obviously, she just did this free show in Times Square. What do you say about Dua Lipa and just the what she's doing right now? It's kind of amazing, right?
I love Dua. She has such a great ear for music and musicality, and her voice is stellar. And she's gotten so much better at performing. I read somewhere that she took offense, or she got her feelings hurt by people saying that she couldn't dance, or she had issues with her performance, the performance part of being a performer and an artist. And she just really took that to heart, and it progressed her, or it propelled her into actually making it better and doing the things that she needed to do in order to be a stellar performer. So my hat's off to her. She's fantastic.
Oh, I've seen some of her performances, and I think she's moving. She's doing all kinds of great. Her voice sounds great.
Yeah.
She had a live band in Times Square. Her and her background singers sounded great. I think she's like a newer type of artist, and she doesn't
Oh
have to
yeah.
be, you know, grinding and shaking necessarily. She's not stiff in any way I can see.
I think it was like when she first came out that she was getting all this criticism
Got
that she
it.
couldn't dance. So, but she used that and she took it, and now I feel like she's getting a lot better. She's up there as far as dance and performance concerned. I feel like she's definitely up there with Rihanna. She's learning from Janet and Madonna, and she's taking notes from the greats. So I think it's a fantastic thing.
Love it. Well, somebody that's not feeling the love so much, if we're going to stay on music for a second, is Trixie Mattel. Let's talk a little bit of RuPaul Drag Race. All
Ooh.
Stars 3 winner Trixie Mattel was recently talking on her podcast, revealing she's taken a break from music and calls out the glass ceiling for queens. She had special guest Monet Exchange during an episode of the Bald and the Beautiful podcast. I love that. A little
Love
take
it.
on the bold and the beautiful. She released this last Tuesday, and the two were talking because they both can sing and both have put out music. She says, I don't know if you feel like this, she was telling Monet, but if we're really being just girls, I recently have been taking a break from music because I feel there's a glass ceiling so fiercely. I think I've just gotten to do everything I'm going to get to do because we're only ever taken seriously about 1 month a year. Obviously, she's talking about Pride, and
Mhm.
it's just like it's kind of takes the wind out of your sails. And I want to make music, but if I don't have this wig on, no one will pay attention. But because I have this wig on, no one will take it seriously. So then what? I mean, I think she kind of has a point. I will say, though, and I haven't said it on the show yet because I love me some Vanessa Williams. And Vanessa Williams' brand new single, Legs is Everything, new album dropping in August. Trixie Mattel will actually be on Vanessa's second single, y'all, coming out for Pride in June, which I'm excited. So we will actually get to hear Trixie with Vanessa, which is going to be really great. Let's start with you, though, Kodi, because I know you're a big fan. Do you like Trixie? And do you feel, as somebody that makes music yourself, that there could be a glass ceiling?
Oh, definitely. I love Trixie, number one. I think that she is so talented. I think she's such a great writer and a musician, and all the things that that encompasses. I think that she has Two Birds was beautiful. And I think that she has a point when it comes to not only drag queens, but probably specifically drag queens, or especially drag queens, but all queer artists. They have a glass ceiling because, like she said, uh, people only really pay attention to us during June. So I feel like she has such a great point, and she needs I don't know what the solution is as far as that's concerned, because it's a double-edged sword, really, because we pay attention to her because she is a drag queen and she has this platform that a lot of other people don't get because she was on RuPaul's Drag Race. But I feel like it has limited her, or she feels like it has limited her because she is a drag queen. And like she said, people don't always take drag queens seriously, but they are fierce, fierce performers, and they are artists in their own right.
Yeah, I mean, without not hearing the music, and I would want to hear the music because I know I've heard she's extremely talented, can sing, and we often don't see that. Okay, RuPaul sings and puts out an album almost every time. Almost every season of RuPaul's Drag Race. And sometimes I think it gets a little bit unnoticed, but Ru also has a platform that you can hear a lot of the music. She makes a lot of the queens perform and do sashing down the runway to her music. And so she makes us listen to the music whether we like it or not. I happen to like a lot of Ru's music, not every single song. I'm kind of like every other song. I'm like, yeah, that works, that doesn't. But when somebody's churning out that much, it works for me. I would want to say to Trixie, like, I want to hear the music first and then make my judgment because, you know, Jeremy, Troye Sivan has killed it, was Grammy nominated last, is a gay artist. I mean, not drag, but RuPaul, just to use Ru again, had Supermodel back in the day that was a huge hit. And this was at a time when drag wasn't even what it is today. And so what do
Yeah.
you say to Trixie, Jeremy, when you hear this?
I say keep going and do whatever makes you happy. I mean, I think that if she's focusing on like the music and her, I know she has the makeup line and she has the motel
Yes.
and all of that. So, I mean, I think that she should just keep doing what makes her happy. And sometimes you do have to like crash and burn and reinvent yourself. And I think that that's what second and third albums are for. And like you said, I haven't heard the music, so that's like something that I can't speak on specifically. But even RuPaul's music, I like a few songs, but I don't normally love like every single song. And I think that if that makes them happy to do it as a career and like venture out into all different types of creative outlets, then power to Trixie Mattel.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully this Vanessa single will kind of get her name in the ethosphere a little bit more. I think that she's killing it with the makeup line and what is it, Trixie Motel?
I actually just watched the making of her motel with her partner. It was really funny.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's so
super
good.
talented. Yeah. So I say keep going. I know in podcasts you got to be real and people want to hear your opinions. Sometimes I feel like it can be a lot of younger artists feel a little bit, they get jaded too
Mhm.
soon, I think, and you got to keep it going. I
Mm.
mean, I guess we should ask you, Kodi, have you heard the music of Trixie Mattel and what's the final word on that?
I heard a couple songs off of Two Birds, and I think that it's really catchy, folksy country type music. So I don't know. Maybe that might be why she's not
Genre or
exactly why she isn't reaching more of the masses
then we
because
got Beyonce though. I mean, hello.
girl, can you imagine Beyonce and Trixie Mattel hooking up for that? I
Well,
would have
let's
been
calm
too
down. We got Vanessa, so let's just start with that.
Another thing though is I'm glad that Monet Exchange was in on this conversation because she does have a new album coming out and she is another one
Yes.
that is very, very talented and can really sing. Her, I think the three most talented, and I don't want to exclude anybody, but in my opinion, the most three talented singers to come out of Drag Race, Adore Delano, Trixie Mattel, and Monet Exchange because and they're doing their thing
Drag
in
and Bob the
musically.
Drag Queen, perhaps.
Oh, Bob is a rapper, I feel like more.
Oh, you're
So
talking singers. Got it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So
Yeah. I mean,
but Bob is doing it too.
all good. And we wish her more success. Okay. Let's move on to some health news because apparently Mpox cases are spiking here in New York City, as the health department says. And there's issuing a warning of another increase in local cases of Mpox virus, formerly known as monkeypox, and urging medical professionals to monitor for cases ahead of the summer when higher transmission could occur. They said in an advisory on Friday, substantial uptick in reported Mpox cases has occurred from October since the last outbreak in 2022. And Cases peaked at 51 this past January and have averaged at 36 per month. I think the only thing you can really do right now is we can just keep monitoring it. Sadly, New York's always the one that gets hit with this first. I think, though, one, if you're not vaccinated from Mpox and you are still wanting to be sexually active, you need to get this. Like, I just would say, talk to your doctor and get it, because we just don't know where it's headed. And it seems like in Africa, there's a huge increase of it happening right now. And that's why it's moving its way from the Congo to here. And yeah, I mean, I know you're vaccinated, Kodi, correct?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. And so when you hear these things about an increase in New York, do you ever want to come back?
Oh my God, I could not imagine staying here. Everybody's like, oh, you should stay. My mom is like, you should stay longer. My friend Jennifer, she's like, you should stay longer. And I'm like,
Kansas,
I
of course,
can't.
is what we're talking about.
Yes, Kansas. And I cannot imagine staying here past June. I just, the city and things of that nature, just my life in general, I miss it so much. And I miss you guys too. I miss you.
I know. I would say you could probably do past June, just because the summer in the city is not the best. You like kind of venture out to the beaches and stuff, but I mean, that's all up to you and how it works out there.
I love
And
being
listen,
naked in the city.
Jeremy.
I hate how hot and sweaty it is. I
Yeah.
literally I went to Coney Island all the time, like just to get away, because it's literally so sticky.
And you're by at least a little bit of more of the water out there,
Yes,
correct? Yeah.
exactly.
That sea breeze.
I'm just wondering, Jeremy, are you vaccinated from Mpox? I mean, I know you're in a relationship now, but if you're going to spend any time in places like P-Town where people are rubbing up against each other, does it worry you, or what do you think about this new hike in transmissions?
I am definitely concerned about it, and I haven't looked into it, but I do know some locations nearby where I can definitely get it, and my partner does have it. So it's definitely on my list of things to get done, just to be uh, out at gay like social gatherings this summer, and it's very scary to hear that it could possibly like be spreading. And yeah, that's just something to definitely think about when I haven't been vaccinated for it.
Definitely PSA moment here on our show to, if you haven't got it, talk to your doctor, look into the local, if you live around a local LGBTQ center. It's a 2-process shot that you need to give. I forget what the period was, if it was 2 weeks or a month. Do you remember, Kodi, what that period was where
I think it was 2 weeks, but
okay.
I'm not quite sure. The doctor will tell you.
Right. So, and I only say that because if, as we're rolling up towards summer here, we want it to be a hot summertime, that, you want to know that it's not a 1-shot deal. It's a 2-shotter with a little bit of break in between. And so, think about this sooner than later, because, we just want to keep you safe, healthy, and have a good time.
That's right. Oh, one thing before we
yeah.
move on. And the shot does last, because I realized I didn't even talk about Mpox. I just talked about how much I miss New York. So the shot lasts for 2 years. So that's something that anybody who got vaccinated last year should put into consideration. They do not have to get it for another year. And but I would just check with your doctor and see if there's a way to actually see if you can test for the antibodies, because they say they don't know how strong the protection is after a certain amount of time. So just keep that in mind.
Points. Yeah, absolutely. Talk to your doctor. Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I put a little link there in our little feed, and it's this bizarre new trend. Let's go to fashion for a minute. This is not a Met Gala fashion moment, I will say that, but there's a bizarre new trendy jeans, and we couldn't help but talk about it with Jeremy on the show, that makes it look like, get this, like you wet yourself.
Oh,
and
Lord.
there's the fashion hits a sticky spot after a designer brought out a pair of jeans with a ready-made wet patch across the crotch. And the design was created by Jordan Luca and shown off during their fall-winter catwalk collection and is on sale now. It's jeans for the brand sell for around £500. But not everyone is a fan. Obviously, one person commented online and said, no more having to wait for the bathroom. You can just piss yourself and say it's the design. Another added, why would anyone wear this? And meanwhile, if you're looking for a pair of spring jeans that will get you more positive attention, one TikToker thinks she found the perfect pair, and this was not it. So it's a whole different thing. This is interesting to me because while I hate these jeans, I think they look awful from a design point, and I just think, no, that would not be cute. And there's always some stupid fashion trend that comes around every season. I can think of a guy, though, from the Eagle that Jeremy, I think you know that Q, he won Mr. Eagle one year. And it was the year
Mhm.
that I entered Mr. Eagle as well. I was runner up to his win. And Q's a great guy. He used to also work in the shop at the New York Eagle. And he used to wear this torn up
Oh, I remember that.
yellow
Yeah.
stained tank top that was like, I think he said he had it for years and years and years and years. And when you asked him a little bit more about it, it was all cum stained, and he was very
Yeah.
proud of wearing this. I don't think he ever washed it. It was filled with cum
Oh,
stains, and it sounds slightly horrific, if you will, but it was kind of legendary. And believe it or not, it did not stand up on its own. He has this beautiful, sinuous body, and it just kind of draped on him. And again, it was this old. I mean, I didn't necessarily want to wear that tank top or get too close to it, but the
girl.
legendary status of it, I was always in awe of like how many. I mean, it was like loads and loads and loads that he had used this tank top, and it should really be in the Leather Works museum in Chicago at this point. It's that legendary.
Yeah, trash.
Jeremy, you worked in that shop before. I think you know about this tank top. What do you think about these pair of jeans of the wet stain that almost makes it look like you pissed your pants?
I honestly think they're like disgusting, and I really hate light denim. I've never liked it, and I don't think it looks cute on anyone, even this skinny little mini
Pencil.
girl at the top. But I don't like bleach denim. I've never liked it. I don't like light denim. I only like dark denim. If you're gonna wear blue jeans, I like navy blue jeans, even with the stitching showing, but I just hate light jeans, and this looks gross and dirty, and yeah, stained clothes are not my tea, and this is not a cute trend, and I will not be rocking anything that even remotely looks like this.
Wow, how do you really feel, Jeremy? I mean, yeah, I'm a hard no on this. I'm gonna pass just because I hate the cut. They do not flatter most bodies, I don't think. And jeans are so personal, and you really want to look good in a nice pair of jeans. These are not doing it. And no, that dumb stain, that wet stain in the crotch, it's like, no, I'll give you something to wipe up, and this isn't it, and not working for me. Kodi, what do you say to this?
I'm with the two of you. Hated it all the way. I think they are disgusting. They make them look hippie. I had to look at the cut when you said that you didn't like the cut, and you're right, 100%. This is not a good look for him. You know what? I would not mind it if the wet pattern, I don't know what to call it, was
Stain.
the stain was all over the jean, but because it's in the crotch, it's gratuitous and it
Like,
doesn't
if it
do
was
anything.
bleach denim, it would be a different story, but
Yeah.
it's like just the fact that it's like that clear, incandescent, like I don't know, that iridescent or whatever it's called color. It's just kind of gross.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's so many great jeans you can get right
It's actually,
now.
you know what it reminds me of is kind of like an oil stain, like you spilled
Yes.
pizza oil in your lap.
Or you know what it looks like? I've told this already, but I recently had a bottle of lubricant, silicone lubricant, open in my
Yes.
backpack, and it looks exactly like that. When silicone lube stains
Ruins
fabric, it
something.
ruins the whole thing, and it
Yeah.
looks like they just got silicone lube all over it, as opposed to our friend who has the cum driven, which to me is more legendary. This just looks like, I mean, piss your own pants and do this. It's
Right.
always funny. There's always a new trend that comes out every year that they're trying to pass off on the runways that it's like, nope, it's a hard no.
I feel like last year they were trying to sell us that towel too. Like, girl, give it up, girl.
Yes, last year was the towel, what was it? A towel.
Like skirt shorts or something like that. I
Yeah,
can't.
right. And this year it's the pea stained
The pee
jeans.
pants.
Yes. Okay. Well, in a recent conversation on Reddit, people were asking the question, why do gay men look younger than their straight counterparts? And they asked the question, have you ever gone to a high school reunion and decided that you look way better than any of your straight class male classmates? Well, that was the question of our youthful appearance as opposed to our straight counterparts. Quote, I do think that more and more the line is getting blurred, but as a 44-year-old, they wrote, who people often think is in their late 20s, I do think it's a late millennial vibe, laughing out loud. This started a whole conversation of people wondering because we've got things like skincare that we take more good care of our skin. We're more into fashion. Okay, not the last story. We're not rocking that. But we also don't have children, as many of us don't have children, and the stresses that come. I have a lot of straight friends that often tell me, you guys live the best life. You guys get dark rooms in your bars. You can hook up with people. You don't have to, if you don't have kids, you don't have to worry about a family. You can go to Ibiza. If you want to go tomorrow to Ibiza, you can go. And yeah, it's called being gay, and we're here for it. We're not apologizing for it. But have you noticed that, Jeremy, that often our community looks a little bit better than, say, our straight community if you were to go to a high school reunion?
You mean like age wise and like
Yeah.
taking care of yourself? Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think it's not in our genes, but I feel like it's just part of, like, I don't know, gay culture, just to at least care a little bit more about uh how you dress, how you present yourself, like what you're doing to take care of yourself. I know I'm learning all the time, like new tips and tricks of like what I should be doing, and like lotions and potions and things like that, and new face masks and just all that kind of stuff. And like my doctor told me to wear like a higher sunblock to avoid like getting more sunspots and just all that kind of stuff. I think that that's something that is has always been like a part of our community and something that we all take into consideration seriously.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, genes play a role for sure. I happen to have good genes from my mother, who looks a lot younger, and I think my sister and I take after that. But I have always been into skincare as a little boy. I used to want to be a dermatologist when I was little, and my mom said, "You're not going to want to be a dermatologist because it's not all about perfecting your skin. You're going to see burn victims, you're going to see people with horrible acne." And then I was like, oh, okay, the reality of a dermatologist is not all fabulous. And anyways, I agree though that I've always wanted to take care of my skin, and I still do. I mean, speaking, there's this, it reminds me because recently I went to Kiehl's to get my favorite moisturizer, and the woman asked me, you can do this, they have this, you put your face in this camera at Kiehl's and it takes these photo images of your skin, and they could tell you how old your skin really is, how hydrated it is, how many dark spots you have, and if you're really in need of moisture or you have sun damage. And mine came out pretty good. She was like, you don't really have a whole lot. And I was like, okay, good, yay. But I agree, we take care of ourselves a little bit more. I mean, Kodi, what do you say to us looking a little bit younger than maybe our straight counterparts at the reunion?
Oh yeah, I totally agree with the both of you. I think that when you don't have children, you have a lot more time to devote to yourself and taking care of yourself, and I think that is a huge part of it. I also feel like it really depends on where you are and where you live. I feel like a lot of, gay people, queer people, LGBTQ plus people live in bigger cities and have more access to, I guess, uh, healthy alternatives and things that like spas and things of that nature. Because I find that, I mean, being here, I find that people that are my age do not look as young as me. And that's just my perspective. And that is from what I have seen. So I think it might be your location as well.
Love it. Okay. And just for fun and shits and giggles, let's do a round robin of your favorite tips to stay younger that you're into right now. I'll start, of course, and this is my idea. My favorite two tips right now, one of them for my youthful appearance is this cream I found, and it's really not that expensive. I think it's $19. And it's when you're going to go out. I'll list this on Tags Podcast because I don't have it in front of me, but it's literally an under eye serum that tightens. No, it's not a cream for the longevity. It's simply when you're going out, and it simply will tighten under the eye area, over the eyes, and really kind of pull it just a little extra. So you look much more pulled and tightened for that outing. And it's like my go-to when I'm going out, just to, and you can kind of pull the lift. Again, it's not a forever thing. And then my other thing is Trader Joe's is SPF 40. It's not that expensive at all. You get it at, like I said, TJ's, and it's my go. I don't, every single day it's on over my moisturizer. I do not go out at all without any SPF. It's a gel. If you're wearing makeup, you can put your makeup on top of it. It's just really, really amazing. Jeremy, what do you say? What's your tip that to beautify?
So one of the things that I love is the African black soap bar.
Ooh.
So it does stain a little bit, which is kind of annoying, just any surfaces that are white, but it really has like made the quality of my skin so much softer and brighter and better. So you can buy it on Amazon or on TikTok Shop or Instagram Shop. And yeah, Shea Moisture makes a version of it, and it's just a really great soap bar, and it's cheap and it works really well. And then another thing that I love is my moisturizer that I use is Neutrogena, and it has SPF in it, and it also has turmeric in it.
Oh,
And
love
so it
it.
has like a really great like clean smell to it, but and it's very light because I don't like things that feel heavy. I sweat easily, so I usually perspirate on my face like right away after applying moisturizer. So this is like nice and light and great for summer.
Excellent. I love those. Kodi, you had some time to think. What's
I
your
know,
tips
right?
and tricks?
So, first and foremost, I want to say meditation because I feel like stress is
Oh,
a
yes.
huge proponent for wrinkles and just aging in general. So, meditate an 15 minutes in the beginning of the day, 15 minutes at the end of the day. But then also, girl, your neck is up the part that will age you for
Mm.
real. So get a good neck cream. I like the Nourish Max Décolletage and neck cream. It's so good and it's not that expensive and it'll last you. So get into some good neck cream so that you can be looking young.
Start that neck cream stuff early on, or oil, because I just think you're right. That's the first thing that often is a noticeable factor on aging. But I love your
Yes.
meditative. I love all your, that's great. I will list
I
some
had
of
time to
these.
think.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Well, on a recent thread of another recent thread that really caused a sensation, asking the question, are these kink shamed behaviors actually pretty vanilla? Kink obviously is becoming more visible and more discussed in modern day society, and yet there are still people yucking other yums, for example, shaming consensual, safe kink play. And in a recent 2020 Psychology Today essay, not that recent, but in 2020, an essay came out. Sex and relationship therapist Elisa Rice explains that our understanding of sex contributes to a worldview of how sex is supposed to look. And when confronted with practices that do not align with our views, it is easy to step into a place of judgment. And in a 2022 Hype Bay explained about kink shaming, sexpert Gigi Fong wrote, in the world of kink, there's always something new to explore. So approaching kink with an open mind is key. And remember, kink is consensual sexual play. So if all parties are of age, give enthusiastic consent, and practice kink safely, one should refrain from shaming it. But what kink shaming targets aren't actually that kinky, and that posed a whole question online. Somebody wrote, "I think feet are pretty tame and I get a lot of flack for it. I don't have a foot fetish, but I don't see the issue." And somebody said, "It's funny too because you can like every part of the body, including feet, and still be labeled as a foot person." Somebody said, "Eating butt. Straight people treat it like you are eating actual shit on a plate." I have a female coworker, they wrote, that everyone gives a hard time because she admitted to eating a guy's arse once. Meanwhile, I will eat a guy out for an hour and love every minute of it. And I'm pretty sure everything we gays do is seen as shameful or extreme to straight. Some people wrote things like musk, the guy smelling sweaty, can really is pretty tame. I've been open about my kink of feet, and not everyone's feet, and it only comes up once in a while. And the guy that I'm currently hanging out with, that we're going to go away this weekend, by the way, to
Wow.
P-Town, I believe is where he picked, in your neck of the woods, Jeremy.
Very cool.
Yeah, so an overnighter. But he doesn't mind when I go down on his feet, and he's like, it feels relaxing, and he lets me have my fun, and it's all really good. It really is pretty not that it's pretty vanilla when you think about it. I mean, are there things, Jeremy, that you think, because you love eating butt, but have you found it to be kink shamed at all?
I think always people have their opinions about other people's fetishes, and I think that it's good to just keep an open mind. I think I learned from working in nightlife in New York City, there you don't have to like every single fetish and everyone's taste for what they find sexy or what they enjoy. And examples of that are like, fisting's not my thing, puppy play's not my thing, but it doesn't bother me that other people are into it. And in a way, it is kind of interesting and fascinating when you keep your mind open just to learn about things that other people are into that you may not ever get into. But it's nice to be like educated and know what's going on, and it's interesting to see what gets people going and what turns them on.
I 100% agree with you. There was a guy that I collaborated with in San Francisco that, if you look at most of his content, or the content that he seems to like to really film, it's actually really interesting. It's not what I'm into at all. And a friend of mine were talking about it. It's essentially food play. And he's got this wrestling mat that we used for our scene for a more wrestling type of moment, coach play, if you will. So that was the kink, coach and student, or coach and athlete. But normally what he's also into is putting plastic down and smashing cake and pie over the other person and eating cake out of their butt, and they're all messy and all filled with sweet and cake, and it's this whole happy mess. And again, it's not my thing, but I think it's fascinating, and if he asked me to do it, I would probably say no.
You're like, I don't want the calories.
I don't want the calories. Yeah, too much sugar, and it's going to seep into me, and I'm going to be on the track too much the next day. But you know what? I love that one of the things I've learned about OnlyFans, you got to find your niche, and this is his niche. This is one of his niches, and this is what he likes. Kodi, what do you say to kink shaming and things that maybe actually are pretty vanilla?
Yeah, I think that that's horrible. It's so unnecessary to kink shame anybody, because 9 times out of 10, the people that are doing the shaming have their own kinks and things that they like, and they are just doing it to get the heat off of them. They don't want anybody to find out about their little dirty secrets out there in the world. So I think it's completely unnecessary, and just be open-minded. And if you're not into something, like you said, with the cake on the cake, it just, politely decline, and that should be fine. Like this article said, consent is key, and you don't have to be into everything, but explore. That's what life is all about.
Exactly. Exploring is so key, and don't close your mind to it. And if somebody says something that you might not be into, hear them out. And by all means, don't shame them for something that they are into, and just have an open mind. Doesn't mean
And I
have
think
to
you
do
could
it.
also surprise yourself. Like that's another one that I
Very
think
true.
sometimes you surprise yourself at something you aren't into, but someone that you're into is. And I think listening to those pointers, or just keeping that open mind of being open to trying something, is always good.
Yeah, fisting was something, if you had explained it to me from the get-go, I would have been, hell no, you're not sticking that whole thing up my ass. And thank God I didn't have that discussion, because then I found out that I actually did, there was a period when I did actually enjoy receiving it. And that meant from a couple fingers to almost the whole hand. And I've gotten away from that in a while, just, because it's not my thing right now. But thank God I didn't have that whole conversation where I had to think too much about it. And then I talk to people that are really into it, and there's a right way to do it that is safe. And you can talk to people about it, but have healthy conversations about these kinks where it's more exploratory and you want to learn more. And it's just, again, you don't have to try it, but if you come from a place of curiosity and knowledge from a sex progressive side, I think that could be really healthy for all included.
Totally. I agree.
Let's give some advice, is what we love to do here on this show.
Ooh.
And there was a recent Reddit thread where it said, I just found out I tested positive for an STD hours after meeting up with a guy I'm crushing on. Oh no. So it basically says what it says. I'm pretty mortified. The thing is, I literally just slept with a guy a few hours ago that I'm really crushing on. And this is the second time we hung out over the past 2 weeks. We hooked up around 4 o'clock, and then I got my results at 6 o'clock. I didn't have symptoms, so I assumed I was fine. But now I feel like an idiot for not waiting for the results and being so optimistic that everything was fine. This is the second time having an STD. He's 30, male, and I feel like I only have limited knowledge. I tested positive for throat gonorrhea. First of all, let me just stop here. I think it's really great that he got the test for the throat, because the swab. We say it a lot on this show. Not everyone always does that. And often your blood work won't show that. So getting your throat and your ass swabbed is something you need to put into your repertoire. Anyways, they wrote, I sucked his dick, ate his butt, and we made out. Does this mean I likely infected him in all those areas? I only tested positive in my throat, and this really sucks. And I kind of just need to vent. Do I need to get, basically, they're feeling really guilty that they got these results after the fact. And I would say you shouldn't really feel guilty. Knowledge is power. You should just be honest and take that knowledge and share, hey, I had a great time with you. I wanted you to know that I tested positive for this. I think you should get tested if you want, or just let them know. You don't even have to tell them what to do. And nobody should really ever take offense to that, because everybody should be on their own regimen on when they get tested. If you didn't tell them, then they wouldn't know to maybe get tested a little bit sooner than later. But I don't think there's any shame in that. Jeremy, what do you say to this on advice?
I don't think there's any shame in it either. And I think that, I mean, it happens, and I think that he should give himself a little bit of grace. And I think just be cautious, but I don't think get down on yourself. I've been there and been in that situation where you're super vulnerable and you get angry and pissed at yourself. But I think that when you give yourself some grace and realize that it is sometimes inevitable and is what happens when you take chances and having unprotected sex, or just sex in general, and engaging with someone. I think that the knowledge is power, and just the fact that he went to get tested and got the results is great in itself, because it's always better to know than let something linger and not be in the know.
Yeah, it reminds me recently. I mean, I'm talking recently, like 6 months ago, I had met with a friends with benefit, had a great time, and then found out right after that, and I don't think it was from this person, it was like already maybe in my system. I just had my testing done, and I had an STI. And I went back and forth in my head. Do I tell this guy, because I know he's in a relationship, in an open relationship? Should I not do it? I don't know. And I ultimately made the decision, because I thought, one part of me thought vulnerably, like, he's going to blame me. He's never going to want to see me because he's a relation. And I said, you know what? I do not need to figure out what his response is. I need to just tell him. And guess what? When I did tell him via a simple text, like, had a great time with you. Unfortunately, I tested positive for this. I wanted you to know. I just doing my due diligence. He responded so well and was like, thank you so much for telling me. I appreciate it. Went ahead and got tested at a certain point in time, was not positive for the same STI I was, but really thanked me. And it wasn't drama like I had anticipated in my head. And he appreciated it too, because then he wasn't going to then bring something back home to potentially his partner. And Kodi, what do you say to this when you hear what this person is going through?
I love all of you guys' points. I think that this is so necessary to get tested and to be vulnerable and disclose anything that could potentially move to these other partners that you are having. And I think that, because they were not in any type of monogamous relationship, this is not something that he should fear, because it's not like he cheated on him. It's something that he did before they even got together. So telling him should only make the relationship stronger, because being an adult, that this is the type of thing that you could possibly transpire. You could possibly get an STI. That's generally speaking. I know that a lot of people probably don't think like that, or some people probably don't think like that. But I think that this is, when you tell the person, it's for you and it's for them, because I personally would feel horrible if I had something and I didn't inform the other person, because it would show a lack of responsibility and a lack of care. And if you're interested in having a relationship with this person, you have to think about the long term and what this would do to your relationship if you held on to this in the future.
Oh my gosh, so much fun. You can always follow my co-host. You can follow Jeremy on the gram, on Instagram at jrosslopez, at jrosslopez. Happy Met Gala watching today, Jeremy.
Yay.
We want to hear your feedback. You can follow Kodi. He's a life coach on Instagram at KMD Coaching, or his personal account at Mr. Maurice. Download his brand new single. Talk about it wherever you download your music. Follow me. I am _Steve V on the gram, or at TAGSPodcast. I'll try and get our beauty tips for all of you guys together. So send me that black soap, Jeremy. And I want to know that, and the moisturizer, and meditative practice, Kodi.
Cool. Sounds good.
In the meantime, continue having hot,
gay sex.